Hi, Tyler. Just want to get your reaction to the DiJonai ejection and what you saw happen on that play.
In the moment, I thought that she made a play on the ball. I didn't think it warranted a flagrant two. I didn't see the replay, when it happened. So that was my initial thoughts. But the officials made what they made. I haven't looked at that play since, so I really don't know if it was justified or not. But that's what I thought in the moment.
I put together a little clip of DiJonai Carrington, who is definitely one of the dirtiest players in the WNBA.
Yeah, so Carrington is a dirty player, probably the dirtiest player in the league. And then she has the audacity to go online right after her ejection and claim that she got ejected because of racism.
And then Cunningham gets into the...
Welcome back to the Clark Update, your home for the latest WNBA news and breaking stories. We've got another brand new update for you today, and we hope you'll enjoy this video. So, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let's get straight into it. Chicago Sky head coach has reportedly suspended star player DiJonai Carrington following her confrontation with Indiana Fever star player Sophie Cunningham. The suspension comes after what many are calling a fight during the recent matchup, where tensions boiled over and resulted in a flagrant foul call that has since escalated into a full-blown controversy. The WNBA is looking into allegations of hateful fan comments. The league announced in the aftermath of the incident, but the situation has now taken a dramatic turn, with DiJonai Carrington facing internal discipline from her own team. Sources close to the organization suggest the suspension stems not just from the end-court incident, but from DiJonai Carrington's conduct following the play and her response to the subsequent investigation. The confrontation that led to this unprecedented decision occurred during the third quarter of what had been a physically intense matchup between the Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever.
Oh, that's a basketball play, y'all. And tell me if you notice a common denominator. Look. Basketball play, look. Basketball play. I didn't know you can rip somebody's hair out. That's a basketball. Look. Ankle injury. That's a basketball play, y'all. Look, poke right in the eye. It's not this many basketball plays in the world. It's not this many coincidences in the world. She went up like this and came down like this and poked an eye. Knocked her all upside her head. Now she got CT. Like, this is what you call a track record. Look, not even going for the ball. Like, come on.
But that's what DiJonai Carrington...
What DJ Carrington does. When DJ Carrington attacked Sophie Cunningham got back on her feet, and a confrontation broke out between the two. To prevent the situation from getting worse, players from both teams immediately rushed over and separated them. The entire atmosphere suddenly became tense as the players tried to keep Sophie Cunningham and DiJonai Carrington apart. The Indianapolis crowd responded with a chorus of boos directed at DJ Carrington, creating an atmosphere that would later be characterized in wildly different ways depending on one's perspective. As the Indiana Fever pulled away for a dominant victory, the incident seemed momentarily contained to the court. However, within hours, allegations began circulating on social media that Indiana Fever fans had crossed the line from enthusiastic support to inappropriate behavior directed at DJ Carrington. The WNBA's swift announcement of an investigation legitimized these claims in the eyes of many, despite questions about their veracity. The WNBA strongly condemns racism, hate, and any form of discriminatory behavior, the league declared, setting the stage for what would become one of the most divisive episodes in recent basketball history. But the story has now taken an unexpected turn with the Chicago Sky coach's decision to suspend DJ Carrington. According to team insiders, the organization was embarrassed by the entire episode and felt that DJ Carrington's actions, both during and after the game, violated team standards of
basketball for a moment. Basketball play. She was attempting to go for the ball, at least she said so. She missed, and she missed egregiously. She missed, and she flagrantly hit Sophie Cunningham in the head. Now, flagrant 2, by definition, if you hit somebody with so much force that it could lead to injury, and if it doesn't appear to be a play on the ball. Though DiJonai's intention was to play the ball, her impact was all on Sophie Cunningham's head.
The suspension is reportedly indefinite, with DiJonai Carrington required to meet certain behavioral conditions before being reinstated to the active roster. The Chicago Sky organization's decision to suspend DiJonai Carrington comes after they had already released a statement that many viewed as doubling down on accusations from a false Twitter post regarding Indiana Fever fans. This apparent inconsistency has led some to speculate that the suspension is more about damage control than genuine disciplinary concerns, particularly as the team faces criticism for amplifying unverified claims about the Fever fan base. ESPN's coverage of the suspension has been extensive, with commentators divided on whether the punishment fits the offense. Stephen A. puts Chinny and Monique on the spot, as one headline described it, referencing a heated segment where personalities were challenged on their framing of the controversy and the reactions to the suspension news for the WNBA. The situation presents unprecedented challenges. The league has benefited enormously from the attention brought by Sophie Cunningham's arrival and her rivalry with established stars like DiJonai Carrington. Television ratings are up, social media engagement has exploded, and women's basketball is being discussed in mainstream spaces like never before. However, the current controversy and now the suspension threaten to overshadow the actual basketball being played. For DiJonai Carrington, the suspension represents a significant setback in what had been a promising start to her WNBA career. After starring at LSU and leading her team to a national championship over Sophie Cunningham's Iowa squad, DiJonai Carrington entered the professional ranks with high expectations and a reputation as a fierce competitor. Now, she finds herself sidelined indefinitely and facing questions about her temperament and professionalism. Sophie Cunningham, meanwhile, continues to excel on the court, breaking records and drawing unprecedented attention to the league.
Quote, Sophie Cunningham, after Sophie had a flagrant foul on J.C. Sheldon being a protector for Caitlin Clark. Do you know what happened after that foul? In 1 week's time, Sophie Cunningham got 1 million new TikTok followers, got celebrated for being an enforcer. And Ring, a week later, Ring gave her an endorsement.
You guys know how serious I am about protecting my girls on the court. But what's protecting my home court, aka my actual home? The obvious choice was Ring.
That's what happened for Sophie Cunningham. DiJonai wrote white privilege in threads right afterwards. And my only problem with that is, which white privilege are you talking about?
Have been scrutinized and social media posts have been dissected for clues about what really happened. The truth? Music, as is often the case in such situations, likely lies somewhere in the middle of the competing narratives. What is clear is that women's basketball has captured the national attention in ways previously thought impossible. The challenge now is ensuring that this attention translates into sustainable growth rather than fleeting controversy. The responsibility for this lies not just with the league and its players, but with media outlets, social media platforms, and fans themselves. As the season progresses, the hope is that the focus returns to where it belongs, on the court, where a new generation of extraordinary athletes is revolutionizing women's basketball and inspiring millions. The Sophie Cunningham-DiJonai Carrington rivalry has the potential to be one of sport's great stories, but only if it's allowed to develop organically through competition rather than being defined by suspensions, investigations, and off-court drama. For now, though, the basketball world waits to see when or if DiJonai Carrington will return to action, and what the fallout from the suspension will mean for her career, for the Chicago Sky, and for the WNBA as a whole. And now, as this story continues to unfold, one thing has become impossible to ignore. The WNBA is no longer operating in the shadows of the sports world. Every game, every rivalry, every controversial moment, and every statement is being watched, discussed, debated, and analyzed by millions of fans across the country. Music. What started as a basketball rivalry has now grown into something much bigger, and the suspension of DiJonai Carrington has added another unexpected chapter to a story that already had the entire basketball world talking. But beyond the controversy, the arguments, and the headlines, there is still a game being played. There are players working every single day to improve their skills, compete at the highest level, and build something special for the future of women's basketball. Sophie Cunningham continues to attract enormous attention every time she steps onto the court, while DiJonai Carrington now faces uncertainty over what comes next. Whether the suspension becomes a temporary setback or something that permanently changes the way fans and teams view her remains to be seen, and that uncertainty is exactly what makes the next chapter so interesting. The Chicago Sky will have to move forward while dealing with the pressure surrounding their organization, while the WNBA will have to carefully manage the growing attention surrounding its players and biggest storylines. At the same time, fans will continue asking the questions that have dominated social media. What really happened? Music. Was the punishment justified? Could the situation have been handled differently? And most importantly, what happens next? Those questions may not have simple answers, and the truth may take time to become completely clear. But one thing is certain, this story is not finished. As the season continues, every game involving Sophie Cunningham, DiJonai Carrington, and the Chicago Sky will carry an additional level of attention. Every reaction will be analyzed, every statement will be examined, and every moment on the court could become the next major headline. And while controversy may bring temporary attention, the ultimate goal should always remain the same: growing the game and giving women's basketball the respect, recognition, music, and platform it deserves. The next generation of stars is already here, and they are proving that women's basketball can create the same excitement, emotion, rivalries, and unforgettable moments that fans have always demanded from sports. So now, The question is no longer whether people are watching, they absolutely are. The real question is what this moment will mean when the season is finally over. Will it become a turning point that helped the league grow even stronger? Or will it be remembered as another controversy that briefly dominated the headlines? Only time will tell. Until then, the basketball world will be watching closely, waiting for the next game, the next statement, music, and the next chapter. And if everything we've seen so far is any indication, the biggest moments of this story may still be ahead, so stay tuned because this is far from over. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next major WNBA update, because when the next chapter arrives, we'll be here to break it all down. What really happened? Music. Was the punishment justified? Could the situation have been handled differently? And, most importantly, what happens next? Those questions may not have simple answers, and the truth may take time to become completely clear. But one thing is certain. This story is not finished. As the season continues, every game involving Sophie Cunningham, DiJonai Carrington, and the Chicago Sky will carry an additional level of attention. Every reaction will be analyzed, every statement will be examined, and every moment on the court could become the next major headline. And while controversy may bring temporary attention, the ultimate goal should always remain the same, growing the game and giving women's basketball the respect, recognition, music, and platform it deserves. The next generation of stars is already here, and they are proving that women's basketball can create the same excitement, emotion, rivalries, and unforgettable moments that fans have always demanded from sports. So now, the question is no longer whether people are watching. They absolutely are. The real question is what this moment will mean when the season is finally over. Will it become a turning point that helped the league grow even stronger? Or will it be remembered as another controversy that briefly dominated the headlines? Only time will tell. Until then, the basketball world will be watching closely, waiting for the next game, the next statement, music, and the next chapter. And if everything we've seen so far is any indication, the biggest moments of the story may still be ahead. So stay tuned, because this is far from over. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next major WNBA update. Because when the next chapter arrives, we'll be here to break it all down.